What's up, boys? It's Nick from TeamSamuraiX1 here, King of the Scrubs, and today I'm bringing you a video talking about why Domain Monarchs are one of the most unplayable decks in the format right now. Only reason I'm doing this is because TeamSamuraiX1 just uploaded a Domain Monarch deck profile earlier today, and I watched it and I left a comment there. You can go look at it if you want. But it got me thinking about Monarchs in general. Now, I love summoning Vanity's Fiend just as much as the next guy. But this deck is fucking shit. And I'm going to explain why pretty fucking easily. 1. Hand traps destroy you. They make your life miserable. Ash Blossom is one of the best cards against your deck. Joel on Lockboard tells you to go suck a cock and eat the cum because, oh god, it's just, both those cards just absolutely beat your deck. Now, you can play around Ash Blossom. You can figure out what cards you want to use, the way to build your chain links so that you don't immediately lose to the card. But getting a Pantheism Ash, getting a Tenacity Ash can sometimes just be the end of your turn. Like, you just have to pass. Now, sure, it could possibly be you don't want Edia getting ashed, so you'll just have the Tenacity get ashed. You don't get to search your card, but at least you get your Squire on board. But that's where Ghost Ogre comes in. Ogre snipes the Edia, and if you don't have a level 6 Monarch, you don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you have to open a perfect 5-card hand of, like, Edia, Tenacity, any Monarch, I'll just say it's Erebus for this example. You son of a bitch. Domain. And, I don't know, what else? I guess it could be 4 cards in theory, but, like, you basically need to have a 4 or 5 opening card hand just so you can play around 1 hand trap. That makes your deck terrible, because this deck is inconsistent as balls. Like, even when Aether was at 3 and Pantheism was at 3, this deck was ass because of how inconsistent it was. And that's the problem with playing Tribute Stun, is that this is basically 2K17 Tribute Stun, by the way. Basically, the problem is that if you don't open a way to tribute and a guy that benefits from tributing, your deck does absolutely nothing. Like, that's the problem, is that you're playing a tribute summon deck. A deck that loses to itself. So, that's why, like, a card like Gofu, that I'm currently playing in this deck, I'm probably going to have to cut, because I can't even tribute summon the damn thing if I brick. Or at least with other cards like Link Slayer and Kaiser Vorse Raider, they can at least be special summoned onto the field, so you have a body so you don't immediately die. But, where was I going with this? Yeah. So yeah, 1, hand traps, they fuck your life up. 2, you're playing a deck that loses to itself. Reason number 3 why this deck is garbage. All your Squires are just really bad, okay? Edia is a good card. The fact that she provides you 2 bodies on board to tribute, and she has a graveyard effect, that makes her fantastic. But the problem is that all she is tribute fodder. That makes her bad. Because if you open, not only if you open multiple copies of Edia, they don't do anything, but if you're not tributing Edia, she's not doing anything. Same thing with Eidos. Eidos is a good card. Not only letting you get your additional normal summon for the turn, assuming that you normal summon Edia to get Eidos out from your deck, Eidos giving you the additional normal summon means you can summon the Monarch in your hand. And he has a graveyard effect. But that's it. Like, if you open multiple Eidoses, they don't do anything. And if you open Eidos and no way to use it, it does nothing. Your Squires are fucking shit. Reason number 4 why this deck is unplayable. It's inconsistent as shit. I've probably already mentioned that, but, yeah, everything is limited. Pantheism is limited, Aether is limited, Stormforth is limited. Like, Stormforth at 3, that's the reason this deck was fucking insane. Like, Pantheism and Aether were garbage. This deck is only good because of this fucking card right here. This card's fucking insane, but, the deck, you already lose to hand traps as it is, even if you have a very good opening hand. So if you brick and your opponent has a hand trap, you just lose. Like, there's no way fans are about to bet. You just lose. Like, even though you don't technically die because you don't have 0 life points, the problem is that your opponent's more than likely just going to build a board with at least 8,000 damage. And even if they don't, they'll make a Firewall Dragon, a Sleeper, and a Last Resort. That's 3 cards out of your hand. And odds are they can't even do anything against the board that you're facing. Reason number 5, this deck is garbage going second. Okay, now yes, you have cards like Erebus and Stormforth that help you going second. But if they just summon a Sleeper, and this is mostly for Spiral after all, we have to remember, Spiral's the best deck of the format. If they have Sleeper Last Resort, and you Stormforth them, yay you? Like, you still have to deal with the fact that there's a Firewall Dragon, and you still have to deal with the fact that Resort's on the field, and you still have to deal with the fact that because the second that second Squire hits the board, there's going to be, like, Firewall Bouncer guys, and then your turn's fucking over. Like, the deck just doesn't do anything going second. Oh, I forgot a card. Oh, well. And that's the other problem, is you can't main deck Darkhole and Regeki in Monarchs, because the whole point of the deck is to go first. Monarchs are a stun deck, meaning if you go second, you're already at you went from like a 50% chance to win the game to like a 30% chance to win the game. Probably even less, but I'm giving Monarchs the benefit of the doubt here. Because I've played the deck way too fucking much to know that it can break a board going second. It's a pain in the ass and it sucks, but it can do it. The problem is that, maybe this is just my philosophy, but the way you play Monarchs is that you go first and you stop your opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the whole point of this fucking deck. You summon a Monarch, you activate Domain, and you pass turn and say, if you can't remove these cards, you can't play. And 9 times out of 10, they can't remove those cards, so they can't play. The problem, one of the main problems, is that they can just stop that from happening after all. Hand traps stop you from establishing the domain lock. They have removal to out your domain and your monsters. And their monsters are just bigger than yours. Like, yeah, you have 2,800 beaters, but they've got 28s and 3Ks, and they can just fucking bounce your board with Firewall Dragon. You've wasted all your resources for them to just go quick fix dupe into Firewall, and you just fucking lose. So, and the other problem is that even if you don't play against Spiral, let's just say you play against Pendulum Magician or Draco or ABC, those are all absolute awful matchups for this deck. Against Draco, they don't give a fuck about Domain. So, like, your game 1 plan is to just outgrind them, basically. Whoever draws more cards and whoever has more board presence wins that matchup. And Draco can run Ash Blossom and Droll and Lockbird and stop you from playing entirely. Against Pendulum Magician, even if you make Vanity's Fiend March, if they have Time Pendulum Graph, you lose. Because they send your Vanity's Fiend to the graveyard, and you have absolutely no board presence, they pen 4 and kill you. And the deck can make Babushka, and that card shits on you. Against ABC, they just make Buster Dragon and banish all your cards. They banish your Eidos, they banish Edia, they banish Domain, they banish March of the Monarchs. Like, there's absolutely nothing. Now, yeah, if you go first and establish Vanity's Fiend or Domain Lock, those decks don't play. But the problem is, I keep saying that, but basically, here's the main reasons why. Number 1, hand traps fuck your life up. Number 2, you're playing a deck that loses to itself. The Squires do absolutely nothing. You can't main deck board wipes. Every deck in the game has amazing removal against this deck. And if you don't go first, you lose. That's why Monarchs suck. How to fix them? I don't know. I honestly cannot give you an answer. Even if this deck came to full power tomorrow, like Aether came back to 3, Pantheism came back to 3, and Stormforth came back to 3, it would probably be the best budget deck in the format, but the deck would not still be that good. Because Ash still beats you, Droll still beats you, Ghost Ogre still beats you. There's so much wrong with the deck that you can fix the problems, you can fix the format, but you can't fix the deck. The problem with the deck is that it's tribute based, meaning that you need multiple aspects to get your deck going. All the best decks in the format, Pendulum Magician, Draco, Spiral, ABC. All of those decks need 1 to 2 cards to just win. This deck needs more like 3 to 4 cards to win, because you need Tribute Fodder, you need a Monarch, and more than likely you either need a way to establish Domain Lock, either being Domain or Tenacity, or March of the Monarch so that your board doesn't fucking lose to Regeki. Now, yeah, you can have the best side deck in the world, and you can just be a god and cheat and open Max E every game, but that's not going to win you games with this deck. Basically, I'm making this video to say, as much as I love playing Monarchs, as much as I love the deck as a whole, and even though I have it built right now and I've been flickering the cards, do not, I repeat, do not build or play this deck until something is done to the format, okay? Now, I'm going to be playing this deck at my locals on Sunday because my locals is pretty casual. I'm being a hypocrite, I know, but the problem is that there's no main deck, or there's no, like, good decks there. Like, everyone just plays tier 2 garbage, and this deck can eat those decks up for breakfast. But, or let's put it this way. If you want to play this deck at locals, go nuts. Because more than likely, you're going to run into a pretty casual local. Like, yeah, maybe you'll see 1 Spiral player, 1 Pen player, 1 Draco player. But more than likely, you can run into casual decks that Domain Monarchs can beat. But if you want to play at a regional, if you want to play at a YCS, or if, God forbid, you want to play at Nats, or you want to try to get your invite, this deck is one of the worst ways you can do it with. I'm not even playing the deck at the next regional I'm going to. And I want to. Like, I want to fuck people's lives up with Vanity's Fiend March past turn. But I know that unless we get a ban list in the next, like, 2 weeks that eliminates Spiral and eliminate Pendulum, because really you need Pendulum gone. Because Time Pendulum Graph is a card that says, fuck you. So Spiral need to be eliminated, and Time Pendulum Graph needs to go, and you can probably play Monarchs and do okay at a regional with them. But unless that happens, the deck's just shit. I'm sorry to say that, it just is. So, I'm not hating on Team Sam. I'm just saying that he's sort of lying to you. I haven't played the deck enough to know if it's good against Spiral. In theory, it is, okay? In theory, it is. But there's so many weaknesses with the deck, and there's so many weaknesses that the deck has in this format that it's just not viable. Like, in theory, you can play it, right? But you're not going to get very far with it. You'll win 1 out of 10 matches against Spiral, and that's if you get lucky. And you open Domain Lock and they don't have the out, or they're just bad and they don't know the combos. That's the only way you're going to beat Spiral. But against a competent player with the standard build of Spiral, you're getting fucked up. So, again, don't take this as hate, Sam. Just don't. I'm just pointing out the flaws in your argument. That's all I'm doing. I've played the deck for a very long time. I've talked with the deck. I know what it can do. But I also know when to call it quits. And right now, we have, as Monarch players, we have to call it quits. We can try and fit the Draco engine in here. We can try and play a whole bunch of shenanigans to get the deck to work. But why would we do that when we can just go play something else that's more efficient? Like, this deck is basically the worst Zoo or Paleo. And Zoo, I've been playing Zoo Stun online for the last couple of weeks. Deck's a lot of fun. It's actually pretty good. But that deck is much better than this. Paleo's better than this. And that deck's basically the same price since everything's been reprinted. So, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How do you feel about Monarchs? Again, I think they're absolute garbage right now. But if you disagree, let me know. Let's have a discussion. Let's not argue. Let's have a discussion. Again, I'm not hating toward Sam, and I'm not hating toward the community. I'm just saying that your argument is flawed, and your viewpoints are so warped that you're lying to the community, and I just wanted to point that out as someone who has experience with the deck. So, my name is Nick from Team 501. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.